Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. Henry Ford's quote. I absolutely love that quote. And I'm all about vision and decision, having a crystal clear vision for your life so the decisions you make throughout the day are in line with that ultimate destiny, right? So think about it. If you have that vision and you're trying to make the decisions to get you there, but you have the can and can't conversation going on in your mind, you're going to either get there quick or you're going to get there really slow if you get there at all. So I'm Erin Ley. I've been a global leading life coach and business strategist for over 30 years. I absolutely love it. They call me the miracle maker and the coach to the coaches because I've been training coaches for decades on how to coach. So this week we're going to discuss the real reason you don't feel clear, because I always have my notes for you guys. It's about staying on track with the vision that I have for you and what I want you to walk away with today. So the real reason you don't feel clear and how to change it fast, right? How to change it fast. I want you guys to have outcomes and results. I'm all about the results as fast as humanly possible, the quality results, the sustainability, not the ones that happen and they just, they're built on sand and not rock. I want them to last, have that crystal clear vision, and we'll go and make it happen. And people say they're stuck, but stuck is often just code for unclear. Like if you don't have the clarity of what exactly it is that you want, if you don't have that vision, then yeah, of course you're going to be stuck and overwhelmed and distracted. But you can become focused and fearless and excited about life. That's the key. The key is get excited. Have that feeling of joy. Have that feeling of gratitude. That's why they say life is too short, right? And you can create an amazing life for yourself because it's an inner job with those feelings of joy and excitement and gratitude and enthusiasm. It's all about attitude. All right, let's get into it. The first talking point is the fog of I can't, right? The fog of I can't. Overwhelm and confusion are often symptoms of living from I can't. Think about it. If you're in overwhelm and confusion, you're not in faith and clarity. So if you're making decisions from fight or flight, right, in overwhelm and chaos and confusion, that's fight or flight, do you think you're going to be making really good decisions? Or do you think you're going to be making the best decisions that you can make with the highest potential for the best outcome for your life or your business or your career or your family? You want to make these decisions from calm and from clarity and from inner peace, from a place of love, not fear, so that your results will be incredible, because you have that vision and you'll end up with the results that you want. Without vision, every decision feels heavy, right? So if every decision feels heavy, it means that you are stuck without having the clarity of where it is that you want to go. Do you have the path ahead of you? Do you have it outlined? Do you see the tracks for that train for your life? Do you see the lane that you're in, that's going to get you to live your best life to your highest potential and just grow with grace and ease because you have the clarity and you have the vision without the overwhelm? We'll have moments of overwhelm, but because you have the clarity and the vision, they won't last long. Part of being human. We're going to have the good and the bad, feel all of it, but you don't want to stay in the overwhelm and the chaos for very long. You want to learn as much as you can from it and then get to the other side, get to the clarity as quickly as you can, because that's how you get out of the fog, right? So clarity comes when you stop identifying with your limitations. Clarity comes when you stop identifying with your limitations. Think about it. If you're saying to yourself, and ask yourself, illuminate this for yourself. Are you saying, I'm not good enough? Why am I in this position? I don't know what I'm doing. I can't do that. How am I going to lead this group? I can't even lead myself. Are these the questions that you're asking yourself? That's identifying with your limitations. Why not say, I can do this. I'm here for a reason. I'm in this position for a reason, because you can. And if you think that you can't, you could always acquire the skills to be able to make it happen, to do it. One of my clients, she couldn't choose a direction for her business. She was stuck, she was stuck and overwhelmed because of the limitations. And when you are trying to grow a business or trying to grow your life or trying to grow your family, and you're making decisions from those limitations, you'll just keep saying to yourself, but this is the reason I can't do it. And it didn't happen for 10 years. It didn't happen for 20 years. Why would it happen now? without realizing that once you break down those limiting beliefs, and pluck them out from the roots and get rid of them and replace them with beliefs of I can as opposed to I can't because of A, B, C, and D, then of course you can grow your life. Of course, more things are going to come into your reality that have never been there before, that haven't been there for 10 years, 15 years. And they're going to start coming in like a fire hose, the opportunities and everything else, when you do break this down and you get out ahead of it. That's the first talking point. The second talking point is vision creates the can. When your vision is clear, possibilities emerge. When vision is clear, possibilities emerge. Opportunities will show up like a fire hose, because when you're in chaos and confusion and you don't know what your vision is, you have no clarity around where you're going, you can't see the opportunities because you're so distracted by all the noise, right? You're so distracted by all the things that are just, that are not important, but they take up a lot of your time. Just like if you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and you're not really getting anything done and it's just depleting your energy, then you're not going to get far down that path toward a vision that you can create for yourself and go and make it happen. So when your vision is clear, possibilities emerge. Can becomes the natural byproduct of being aligned with what you want. If you're not in alignment with what you want, if I want $1 million in the bank, I want to have my own business, I don't want to work for somebody else, I want this and I want that. Let's say you have all these ideas, these desires that you want to achieve, but you tell yourself that you can't because you don't have the experience, or I can't. It's a default mode that we go into, that it's going to keep us from achieving those goals. But when you get into alignment with I can, and again, just even like a tiny little, I think I can, and you take the next step and the next step forward, as opposed to not doing anything or going backward with I can't, you would be shocked and surprised at how far by the end of the month, by the end of the quarter, by the end of the year, how much growth and how far you went. You're going to say, I don't even know how I got here. I have no idea. But it's because you took the steps day by day and the energy just kept growing and you said yes to the opportunities and you believed that you could, even if you didn't have it all figured out. You believed that you could figure it out. And that's confidence in your competence, right? So that's super, super important. The brain starts filtering out distractions and becoming focused on forward movement. The most successful people on the planet, they don't allow the distractions to take up a lot of their time. Their focus, it's like the 80-20 rule. A lot of times people are so distracted that by 80% of the day is distractions and 20% is pure focus on what it is that you want to accomplish and what it is that you want to get done. Highly successful people, it's 80-20 in the opposite way. They're focused 80, like Steve Jobs was 80-20, 80% focused on exactly what he wanted to get done, and he just got it done no matter what, like a bulldozer. He was so focused on what he wanted to do that he had the 80-20, 80 focus and 20 with noise, and distractions that he had to deal with in life. And then there's people like Elon Musk, whether you like him or not, or agree with him or not, or whatever. I'd say close to 100. I don't see that man with many distractions or much noise allowed at all. Like he's 100%, or close to it, focus. And everybody else that works for him deals with the distractions and the noise. So that's vision creates the can, right? So, and then create a vision journal prompt. What would I create if I believed I could? Write that down. That's the prompt in your vision journal. What would I create if I believed I could? Think about it. And then when things come up like, well, I want to accomplish this, but I can't because, write that down on the side, or even in a separate journal, write down all the I can'ts that come up with regard to this prompt of what would I create if I believed I could. So then this way you can illuminate the I can'ts that come up and go deeper into why they're coming up and why they're there to begin with, how they got there. And usually it's not your belief. You took on the belief of somebody else, whether it's family or place of worship or work or school or wherever it is. A lot of times they're just taken on from other people. It's not really your belief. So you can rewire that, get rid of it and rewire it in a belief that actually serves you to get it done. Okay, so the third talking point is the alignment filter. Every action becomes easier when filtered through your vision. And that just makes sense. Like, of course, it's going to be easier. The action, when it's aligned with your vision, it's going to feel, you're going to do it with grace and ease. It's going to feel fun. When I love doing what I do. I love it. I need an off switch because to me, it's fun. And I have multiple businesses, with the coaching and speaking, and I've written a bunch of books and so many different things. And I have patents pending in another area. I have so many different businesses. And, but I bring it all together and I'm in alignment. I'm in harmony with all of it. And it's fun. And every day I'm growing, and I'm not just growing myself, but growing my businesses and growing my clients and their businesses. And if they don't have a business, their career or their family or whatever it is in their life regarding health and wealth and happiness. And to me, that's so much fun. For you, you might want to be work for a hedge fund. You might love transactions, and for you, that's fun. Everybody has something different. Every personality is different. But when you're in alignment with what it is that you want to do and get done, life gets to be fun. And it should be. Living in joy and enthusiasm and optimism and gratitude. It opens up a whole world. If this is new to you, it opens up a whole world that you didn't know existed. And you're going to be like, why didn't I know this sooner? Okay, so that's that one. Every action becomes easier when filtered through your vision. Next is ask, does this move me closer to who I'm becoming? This is super cool. Does this move me closer to who I'm becoming? You always want to know where you're going, like again, that vision, that North Star of where you want to go. And so you can make the aligned decisions and the actions to move you toward that vision, right? With grace and ease and fun and joy, because it's what you want to do. So when you know where you want to go, then you know who you want to be in 3 years or 5 years or 20 years or whatever it is. You know who you want to become, right? And a lot of the becoming conversation has to do with remembering who you truly are and letting go of those beliefs of I can't. That's a huge part of the becoming, is the remembering of who you truly are. When you came into this world, you were a blank slate. You had the confidence, you had the clarity. You knew when you cried if you wanted something to eat or to be changed. Like, you knew exactly what you wanted. And you also knew what your mission was here with your gifts. You knew what you came here to do, but then you forget. We all do. We all forget, and then the limiting beliefs kick in. We don't really deal with life the same as we get older. And between birth and 8 years old is when the subconscious is formed. All of those limiting beliefs are formed, most of them between birth and 8. Right. And we all have to undo it. I learned just recently that even the feeling of grief, and this was just recently, I'm going to be 60, the feeling of grief, I didn't know that I didn't deal with the feeling. And this is very, very important. I thought grief was, if I felt grief, I felt I shouldn't feel grief because then I feel weak. I would do anger and that was it. There's different stages of grief. Anger is one of them, that I felt like, okay, I'm strong if I'm in anger, and I didn't feel strong in grief. And we live in a duality, where there's the good and the bad, the up, the down, the in, the out. And I can't, if I don't deal with the grief, then I can't live, which is the shadow side. I can't live 100% fully and wholly as a whole person in the joy. Right. And that was a huge epiphany that I learned, like right before the pandemic, during the pandemic. And it's incredible what we just keep remembering at many ages, many stages of our life, and that was one of my I can'ts. I can't deal with grief. I can't do grief because then I'm letting other people down. I have to be strong. I can't be weak. That's crazy. Like we have to let go of the I can'ts, embrace all of it, embrace the duality. And I can teach you how to do that also. So the alignment filter, The third piece, decision fatigue, disappears when you're moving in alignment. We just covered, does this move me closer to who I'm becoming? The last one is decision fatigue disappears when you're moving in alignment. And that just means you're not going to be exhausted trying to figure it out, trying to make decisions regarding where you want to go with your vision, with who you want to become, and that whole conversation. And again, there's a create versus compete also. You just want to stay in the creative lane. As you're doing this and you're in the becoming and you're in the remembering and you're getting rid of the fatigue and all this other stuff, you want to do it with grace and ease, and that does not deal with competition. I'm not talking about sports and that kind of a thing. I'm talking about putting other people down to build yourself up, and that kind of a competition. You want to stay in the competitive lane, not the creative lane. So let me know in the comments what's one thing you can do this week to move closer to your vision. Okay, so what is that one thing that you can do, that you can do this week to move you closer to your vision? Put that comment below or email that to me at info@erinley.com. And if you're ready to get clear, aligned, and confident in your next move regarding what it is that you want to do in life, feel free to reach out to me regarding the Life on Track course. And you could schedule a call we could have a conversation about your goals, your vision, what's holding you back, how it can help get you to where you want to be, to what you want to accomplish, and see if it's a good fit for you. All right. So have a great day. Have a magnificent day. And always remember to live onward and upward.